We're talking with Tommy Waller. Tommy, how do we fix this? The grid is a danger. What do we do to make it safe for people?
So the good news, Kevin, this is unlike the whole climate change argument back and forth. This is a fixable problem, right? I mean, it can be fixed.
Affordably fixable?
It's an affordably fixable problem. In fact, I showed you earlier this testimony provided to the Secretary of Energy about that one threat you can't deter, solar weather, right? Nationwide, the cost to fix that, it's a technology called neutral ground blockers, right? A company called Imprimis that produces them. It's been tested for over a decade that block those ground-induced currents. Nationwide, about $4 billion. That's 1/3 of 1% of the Biden infrastructure bill.
Wow, it's a fraction of what we're sending to Ukraine, right?
It is absolutely affordable. Though the federal government, again, twice, I personally briefed Secretary Granholm on that threat, on the solutions that existed, and on the costs. And we've seen absolutely no action by the federal government, with one exception. We've got a report about this, and that is that there are people in Congress and in the federal government that want to take over the Texas grid. And so I think if we talk about...
Wait. Take over the Texas grid. The federal government I'm not sure I'm buying into the takeover. How does that work?
So what they want, remember we talked about this standard, this subpar standard that's established really by the industry, approved by the federal government. That's a standard by the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, FERC. FERC oversees the bulk power system, except in Texas. Texas has its own grid in ERCOT. And so there's a movement now to bring Texas under the jurisdiction of FERC. We produced a report recently on that, Kevin, 5 reasons why a federal takeover would hurt grid resilience in Texas. And we outline all the failures.
So you're talking Texas independence on the grid. Okay, all right, I'm back with you.
And the reason is because there's terrible tragedy that occurred, you mentioned it, Kevin, in Winter Storm Uri, right? February 2021, 3-day blackout. Texas lost more than 240 lives of its own citizens. And it's estimated over $100 billion in economic loss, right? But that woke the people up. It woke up the legislature. It woke up the Public Utility Commission. And Texas ended up establishing a very effective standard to protect against cold weather, much faster than the federal government ever could have done. And so part of what our report does is it talks about how the federal government's failed, don't allow it to take over Texas, but use the same mechanisms that the state did after Winter Storm Uri to address every other threat, starting, we suggest, with the one we can't deter, which is solar weather.
Can we take that report and put it in our battle plan?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And the neat thing is we also have on our website an Align Act campaign. You're familiar with those where Texas citizens can actually click through and send letters to tell their elected officials, keep the Texas independent, it's grid independent, and fix these problems that's what's so frustrating, but also gives us so much hope. It's frustrating because it hasn't been fixed, and it can be, and it's affordable. The hope part is that it can be fixed and it's affordable.
Well, just think about this. I think Vladimir Putin, why do we have to fight in Ukraine? I get it. Putin's a thug. We got to fight in Ukraine because Putin cannot be allowed to, roam free across Europe and so forth. I get all those arguments. However, when you hear those arguments, we're sending so much money to defend the border in Ukraine, and you wonder, why aren't we spending a portion of that to protect our electric grid here? Because we know if Putin is a thug, he's got the capability to take down our electric grid and cripple America. It's in the Chinese warfare doctrine, unrestricted warfare. It's right there. It's their end game, is that you cause the electricity network to fail, and then you cause street riot, social crisis, and end to America. That's their plan.